Evening, lad. Yeah, are you? You ready for this season? Bit of a laugh, yeah, yeah. It is a short 18-minute qualifying into a 50% race around Silverstone. Shouldn't be too much. It is, yeah. Yeah. I had Rob Sim racing under Ferrari. I had an incident with him on Saturday. Friday, in another league. I sort of hit him into a wall. Lost his front wing. Uh, Baron's a good racer as well. Baron's a nice racer. And Doiji's the other one. Doiji's my older brother, but he's got so Baron, Rob, and Doiji are the ones you got to watch out for this season. They've got some serious pace on them. They have. I'm not sure about all the others, but them three are from a different league, and I know them all. So. Yeah, yeah. Just to keep this as professional as possible. A little bit of history about Silverstone for those of you watching at home. Silverstone has 18 corners, 2 DRS zones, speed trap just before turn 15. It's 5.891 kilometers long, it's usually 52 laps. The race distance for full 52 laps is 306 kilometers long. The lap record is 1 minute 27.3 seconds, achieved by Lewis Hamilton under Mercedes in 2019. Silverstone was first used for a track for Formula 1 as a motor race in 1947 at RAF Silverstone, which was formed in 1942, just before the end of World War II. So that's it for those of you watching at home. Qualifying will be short, 18-minute qualifying. They're using, each team, as you can see on screen, they're using the F1 2020. The F1 2020 category. It's 50% race distance, and it's equal car performance with a qualifying starting grid. Safety car and collisions are on, vehicle damage is full, weather is dynamic. Park firme is also on, corner cutting strict, car setup is full, ghosting is on, rules and flags on, and race starts are manual. So, seeing as this is a practice before the start of the season, let's see how these guys fare up first race against each other. Hopefully it shouldn't go too bad. What's your fastest round here at the moment? Are you know? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. What is it? Is it a G29 you've got, a Logitech, or have you just got a Thrustmaster? Yeah, well, just to get you going for now. Because if you don't, yeah, yeah, yeah. Some of the racers I'm aware that, such as Doiji and Baron, are actually on pads, so we'll see how that goes for them. Hopefully, it should be nothing too bad and nothing too sort of trash. Just got a message in the chat from a camera Todd 33 supporting Harris 1902. Harris has got some supporters tonight out in the chat, so that's nice. We'll see how that goes, shall we? Everybody's in pit at the moment. And our first one out is Ratic 1980s leaving the pit. He's running the medium tyre as he leaves for Silverstone. Let's see how he gets on. Who else is out? That's it. Lewis Deutsch is out under the Mercedes, I do believe. See how these guys get on. Just check that you're actually being heard in my stream. Audio sharing settings, right? Just bear with me 1 minute. All video clips, share party audio, right? That's fine. You should be heard. Who's left in pit. Busy track for the start of qualifying, I do believe. Ferrari's getting off to a slow start. Who's that just pulled off to the side there? With Darren's still in pit at the moment. Baron is also still in pit at the moment. And number 9. Whoever is 9th, that is Ratic, 1980. He's started his first lap, followed by George, Deutsch, and they're all starting to get on their lap now. Let's see how this goes. Shouldn't be a problem here. Judging by practice, we should see how they get on this season. Hopefully it'll be a nice tight net season, but you never know with these guys. Yeah. That's it, the first time has come in, a 126.1, followed by George, who's just hit a 126.4. Not too close, 300ths of a second off, but this is now anyone's game. Beaten by Beastie Boys, who's just coming at a 125.1. Still anyone's game, we've still got 14 minutes left of quali, and only 5 times have still yet to come in. 6 times left to come in. Yeah. That's Beastie Boys under the Renault, under the Renault using softs to hit that 125.1. I think the strategy, probably judging by the weather for the race, looks to be a medium, soft to a medium strategy on a 1-stop. That's Deutsch in the McLaren, taking it nice and slowly round the circuit. Barron's now on his outlap. Still Beastie Boys in the Renault running softs with a 125.1 lap time. Who's that in? Ratic and George are now in pit after their first lap, hitting a 126.1 for Ratic and a 126.4 for George. Beastie Boys with a 125.1 is also just pitted. Probably just going to have a look, and I reckon some of them now are about to change, going to change over to softs as opposed to mediums. Soft seems to be the faster compound around Silverstone. Ouch. He's in the top 10 with a 127.4, but still there's 4 people who haven't set lap times yet. 2 of them are still in the pit, so we'll see how that goes. Barron's just started his first lap in the Mercedes now, running a medium compound. Just going round turn 3 and 4. So, what track are you looking forward to this season then? What's the track you're going to be most excited for?
I think, well, I thought I would put the best performance in Austria.
Yeah. For me, it's probably not on the calendar. I'll have to double check that right this second. For me, it's going to have to. I'm going to have to say Vietnam. The pace around the track. It's a new track, recently been resurfaced, so it's going to be slippery. Drivers are going to have to be taking it really carefully as they go around them corners. There's only 3 major corners as like to make a tri-circuit, and it is one of the best, personally, newly surfaced circuits for this season. It's one of them circuits that it looks easy, but it's technical. You have to keep to that racing line no matter what. If you catch it nicely, it's a nice flow, yeah. But if you don't, it's end of your line for you. Yeah, exactly. It's not that over. It's the fact that it's not even half. You're not even completed like. You've almost completed half a lap by the time you get out of it. So you literally you've still got to go, sort of just over half a lap before you can even reach the pits, which you could lose 2, 3, 4 positions going around them S-bends, going around the hairpins and trying to get into the pit. Especially with the amount of understeer you're going to get going round with no front wing as well. Yeah. Beastie Boys is out. Lost. What did he do? Did you watch him? Ouch. That's Bagos. The 2 Ferraris, Bagos and Rob, have just come out for their outlap. Darren and Assad are both now out for their outlaps as well. Assad and Darren still yet to set a time, but we'll surely see them with some decent times this season. What's your predictions for this practice race? Safety cars. I reckon that first DRS zone's going to pose a challenge for people to close that gap up on that long straight. If they close the gap up within under half a second to get round, obviously, and the second DRS zone as well, going round past the pit, round into Maggots and Beckett's, loads of overtaking opportunity coming out of that chicane into that final back straight. Yep. I see Renault have got a Renault 1-2 during quali. You won't see that in Formula 1 on TV, I'll tell you that now.
Seems to be picking up a nice line. He's taken 3 tenths off his previous time.
I've just got a phone call from someone on the stream, obviously being my brother. If you do me a favour, go to party. So come off your game, go onto party. You shouldn't leave. Shouldn't be a problem. You should have party settings.
Yep.
Go onto party settings, and then it should be something about having your voice heard on stream.
There you go, sorted. I've got that one to always allow you. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry about
No, that's alright. We've just gone probably about 10 minutes without you being heard.
that. Oh wow. Oh, the missed everything.
It's alright. You're not commentating with me at all. You're just there for the fun. I'm talking to myself half the time. Who's this just coming out to start? This is Doiji on his outlap along with George, closely followed. He's just left for his outlap. Oh, it's not, it's Baron. Baron's on his outlap and so is Doij. Doij is now on his outlap.
Zobson's on his outlap too.
Let's see what we've got. We've got Beastie Boys and this is Ginge running the Renault tonight. We've got Shama, Awan and Assad. Looks like to be running the Haas. We've got Zobson and Duty running the AlphaTauri. We've got Ratic and who else is running the? Oh, Ratic's teammate obviously didn't turn up tonight. A bit worried. George and his teammate Darren Marr, I believe. Nope, George's teammate hasn't turned up tonight either. We've got Doij and Mask Baron in the Mercedes. We've got Bagos and Rob in the Ferrari. We've got Harris and Darren in the Williams, and obviously Assad in the Haas. That's tonight's lineup. Hopefully there'll be more that show up for the actual race on Sunday.
Well, Zobson's just done a 27-1 in Sector 1, so he's actually up on his time by just short of 2 tenths.
Who's just pulled over? Someone in the Renault. This is Gene just pulled over to let... Who's that just on their What an absolute flyer of a lap as he passes his Ginge. As they both turn into Magnets and Beckett's, it looks to be a Williams from my perspective. Just had to change the channel settings because I put Saturday Night Racing League. It's not on a Saturday, is it? It's a Sunday.
Yeah. I've just dropped out of the feed.
New fastest lap set by Jordan, a 125.129, as opposed to Beastie Boys' 125.154. That Renault 1-2 wasn't going to last for long, I told you that. Just come up on my newsfeed. Do you remember when Michael Schumacher had that catastrophic ski injury 7 years ago? The 29th of December 2013. He's still fighting for that. Okay, so that's Ratic, Harish and Assad who are left. And we've just had a retirement by Bogos. Any news on the retirement? Ratchets is retired as well. I think that's just them all starting to come into the pits now. Magnus did not set a time, and that puts Magnus in 14th. So the current standings that's George with a 125.1 in first. 1-2, sorry. Beastie Boys with a 125.15 in second. This is Ginge with a 125.39 in third. Fourth, we've got Mars Baron for 125.6. Zabzon in fifth with a 125.7. Summer Owen with a 125.9 in sixth. Seventh, we have Ratic with a 126.1. Eighth, we've got Doiji with a 126.5. Excuse me. We've got Assad in ninth with a 127.04. We've got Bagos in 10th for the 127.3, Robson Racer with a 127.4, Koduti in 12th for the 127.418, and we've got Harris 1902 in 13th for the 127.588. Excuse me. Oh, bless me. We've got Magnus Nikolai in 14th with no set time, and Darren Mark in 15th also with no set time. We've got this Beastie Boys and the Shinj have retired. Okay, so as you can see by my standings, that's the current setup for today's race. We've got the Renaults second and third on the grid. We've got Racing Point in first, the Mercedes in fourth, and AlphaTauri in fifth. Obviously that followed by the Haas, the Red Bull, Doiji in the other Mercedes, Assad in the Haas, the both Ferraris, and the AlphaTauri following in 12th from his teammate up in 5th. We've got the Williams in 13th, the Alfa Romeo in 14th, Magnus Nicolai, and Darren Mark in the Williams in 15th, both retired.
I was just having a quick look at the incidents. There were quite a lot of lap times deleted due to exceeding track limits, so that may take an effect during the race. May see a few minor penalties heading their way.
Wondered where you'd gone.
Yeah, sorry, I had a little connection issue, but that's all resolved.
We had George come up and take 125.129 to take first off of Beastie Boys.
Yeah, I had a feeling that Jordan was doing well. He had some really nice sector times earlier on, but didn't have that flowing lap to make a good time, but got there in the end. Bit sorry for Kojuti having that crash, because I was sure that he was going to get some good times later on as well. Oh, here we go then.
Is it for the formation lap, isn't it? Or is it straight up?
It looks like a formation lap here because they're all fighting in.
Formation lap, yeah. Okay, so the grids for tonight's practice race is yours. The predicted stop strategy is the stops to the mediums in a one stop, and the softs to the hards if you are feeling very energetic tonight and feeling very, very mischievous and want to go for them softs and the hards compound. I don't think that is going to be the top pick strategy, but we'll see, because the hards around Silverstone today will take a long time to warm up. I think under the safety car, if you go hard, you don't want to run the risk, so go in the softs to the mediums just in case the safety car does get deployed when you're on the mediums. Mediums are a lot easier to keep an eye on rather than the hards. So on the grids we've got George in first, Beastie Boys in second, Ginge in third, Baron in fourth, Zobson in fifth, Baron in fifth, Sama Awan in sixth, Ratic in seventh, Doiji in eighth, Assad in ninth, Bagos in 10th, Robson Racer in 11th, 12th we have Quaduti, 13th is Harris, 14th is Magnus Nicolai, 15th is Darren Mark. That is the grid for this evening. We'll see how they get on. You want to back the pack up a little bit because you don't want your tyres to get cold while waiting on the grid for the rest of the races to catch up.
Yeah, there's precious few seconds that you have at
so Beastie Boys has just been disqualified, sorry to cut you off there, just been disqualified from the formation lap. We don't know what for, probably for driving too slow. Shouldn't see a lot of that this season because they all should be quite fast racers, but you never know this time. As they start to form up on track, there is Beastie Boys like a little told off grounded child as he sits there waiting for the rest of the pack to join the grid. Okay. And it's lights out and away we go at Silverstone this evening for the first practice session of the season. Down into turn one, George leads. This is Ginger's behind with Beastie Boys in third. We have a yellow flag in sector one already. Ratic has come up to sixth. We've got Assad. We've got Robson Racer dropped 2 positions. Magnus Nicolai has also dropped a position. Bagos is already retired from the session.
We've had Ratchet and Samo Awan both going off at turn 4.
That's Quaduti in the Haas as just retired as well. Not even a half of that through, we're already down to 13 races. We've got a virtual safety car already in sector 1, probably going through. Now's the time to keep them tyres hard, file down in to keep your position safe. but also keeping them tyres nice and warm. We've got George still up in front, followed by this is Ginge, who overtook Beastie Boys at the start of the line, probably obviously had a better start. We've got Magnus Nicolai bringing up the rear.
Well, Harrison's already jumped 6 places on the first lap, so nice little climb from him.
I think Harris has... We've got Darren Marks jumped 3 positions. Shama Owen has lost 5 positions, not even in the first sector. Not a good start for some of these guys, have to admit. Magnus Nicolai has suffered a 5-second time penalty. We don't understand what for, but I'm sure we can get that off of him later. Magnus Nicolai's retired from the session.
Oh, Beastie Boys he's holding first at the moment, followed by Barry.
George has just lost, what, 6-7 positions on that one. That's Beastie Boys stuck in 8th gear, revving like crazy. Obviously running a manual gearbox this evening. Ah, George has just jumped back up to first. God knows what happened there then. We've only got 2 racers this evening, Ratic and Robson Racer on the medium compound to start with. We have Magnus, but he's left.
Got Harrison sitting here with a 3-second penalty. Multiple warnings, that is.
Is that Harris exceeding track limits, is it?
It probably would be for the multiple warnings, yes.
We have Shama Owen getting a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. That's just come in from race control. There's 3 penalties being served. Shama Owen's got a drive-through, Rob's got 3, and so has Harris.
George storming away with a 3-second gap between him and Masked Baron, sitting in 2nd. Following pack is quite close, right down to Rob Sim. They're all within 1-2 seconds of each other.
Masked Baron is 3 seconds behind George, who's in the lead at the moment. Showerham with a nice look to be nice overtake from Ratic. And they're fighting. There's a fight going on for 6th. And a fight for 4th between Doiji in the Mercedes and Zobon in the Alpha Tauri. Nice fights going on towards the back of the pack here.
There's a little bit of a collision between Zobzon and Masked Baron. Masked Baron forcing his way through into 3rd. So Zobzon.
Harris has just come out of the pit. Looks like he just had a front wing change, or he's just wanted to come in to suffer his 3-second time penalty. Baron and Doiji fighting for 4th. Looks like Doiji overtook him. Nice clean overtake by him. I think that's going to be the duo to watch out for this season, I think. The Mercedes, Baron and Doiji. That's it, Beastie Boys 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings just coming from race control.
Subs on with the same as well.
A couple penalties being dished out this evening, God knows why.
It's quite easy when you get to those S-bends, it's quite easy to trim those corners.
Darren's just gained 5 positions by not doing a single thing.
And we've got Barron, who's gone into the pit. He's gone onto hard tyres now with a wing change.
Barron's, yeah, wing change and the hard compound. It's going to be a tricky tyre to warm up in these conditions. We've also got Harris, who's now on the hards as well. Slammers is just pitted to serve his drive-through, I think. I take it. Just have a look.
Yeah, he saved his drive-through.
Serves his drive-through penalty.
These 3 guys are sitting 9th, 10th, 11th. I've got a lot of clear space in front of them, enough to get those tyres up to heat and maybe start closing that gap when the rest of them start pitting.
Ratic, another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's not been a good Sector 2 to Sector 3, yellow flag.
Ratchet went off course. I think he spun out there.
Not a strong sector for Ratchet. Just hit a 114 between Sector 1 and Sector 2 on the start, from the start line to Sector 2, end of Sector 2, start of Sector 3, a 114. Not a very strong lap from him at the moment.
And we've got a new fastest lap by Beastie Boy of a 1:28.7.
We've got some good gaps been developing between Sama Alwan and Darren Mark there, 10 seconds, and it looks to be closing quite drastically, followed by Mars Barron who's 11.1 seconds behind. The gap's getting bigger. Now I didn't expect this type of racing from Barron, but with it being just a practice session for him to get used to the car before the start of the season, I do think that gap change will get smaller, and the way he is able to go through and round the track so swiftly, along with Doidge in the Mercedes and George up top in first, I think they will be the 3 to look out for fighting for championship this season.
I'm just watching a little battle between Ratchet and Azad. A few little minor contacts, knocking each other about the course, but they are continuing to battle.
Beastie Boys is retired from the session. Let's see if we can see from another racer what looks to be the problem with him.
Well, it looks like an incident down in Vale. So it's kind of easily spun out quite one of those tight corners that could cause some issues.
Ratchet has pitted. Looks like it could be a front wing issue. We'll soon see as soon as he pulls into the pit lane for them to change his tyres. It is a front wing issue. He's lost a front wing, and he's changing to them hards. And again, another tyre hard. It's going to be tricky for him to keep an eye on as he finishes the next sort of 19 laps. Now, with the softs, with there being 6 laps old on the softs, it will be time for them to pit within the next 4. Their pit window looks to be 10 to 14 laps. Quite a few penalties dished out as well tonight. I don't know why. Obviously, some impatient drivers with it being the start of the practice season, but during the race that will prove critical for them.
Yeah, I've been watching them go through a Vale corner, and that's where they seem to be clipping that inside corner a bit too much and collecting warnings left, right, and centre. Really.
Just saw Harris fancy playing with a bit of the grass just as he come around that corner, clips and run off the track. His brakes glowing bright orange because he's using them too much. That's not going to prove nice for him. As Darren Marks just pitted, looks like he's going to go on the mediums for the rest of the race. That's his one strategy done. That should be him for the rest of the race. Nice quick stop. Nice quick pit stop as he leaves the pit. Hopefully not going to be overtaken by Ratchet, but we'll soon find out. Yeah, he is. As Doiji, 3-second time penalty, probably for coming off track a bit too much. Just to check in with the top 3. George just heading into Maggots and Beckett's now. Maybe setting the fastest lap of the race.
Ratchet another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
Fastest lap is still Beastie Boys, who is now retired with a 128.7, followed by George with a 129.2. Got Mass Barron with a 13-second gap behind Sama Owen. Not the best, and not what he wants for this practice session before the season. This practice session for the season enables the racers to eye their teammates up, see what they've got put up with this season. It could or could not be the teammate for them. Not a lot of action going on right now, is there really?
No, the gaps are open, are quite open, so it's all cars have got a bit of clean air, so we might see some clean running from a few people to see if they can start closing the gaps. I can see that Rob Sim is taking chunks of time out of the gap between himself and Doiji.
And the pit window for the SOS have just opened. It's lap 10 to lap 13 for the soft tyre compound. They will be changing to the medium unless they have the tyre strategies changed to the softs.
See Darren Mark's gone on mediums, and he looks like he's taking a big chunks of time out from his best laps. So we'll see if that Joe transitions onto the course and see if he can start closing that 9-second gap.
That gap between Zobzon and Doiji's closing drastically as well. It's now 3.4 seconds. Oh, that's Mark just hitting a bit of the grass on the last corner there.
Oh, a bit of commentator's curse there, whether I say he was having a good run there.
We've got Ratic hitting an 11-second time penalty, probably for multiple warnings. That is not good.
We've got Jordy's just coming to the pit now. Let's see what tyres he gets on.
Doigi, 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's like Zobson's also come in on the AlphaTauri. There's George, Zobson and Doigi have pitted. Rob's just coming through Maggots and Beckett's now along the pit straight. Hasn't pitted on the medium compound. He's going to overtake. George will not be able to get out before him, unfortunately, but let's just see if anyone else can. We've got Zobson followed by Doigi heading out the pits now. George just coming out of the pit lane. So Rob is now in first. I feel like on the medium he will have to pit again just before the end of the track, otherwise he will be running their mediums thin if he does decide he wants to carry on.
I'm sure Rob's has actually started on the mediums there, so I think he's going to push and push to see if he can finish on the soft.
See what he can get out of that. Let's look at stops. Rob has started on a medium. He's done 0 stops and he's done 10 laps on their mediums. Summer Owen, who is in third, has also done 10 laps. The grip on his soft should start to drop any time now, resulting in him finding it hard to keep grip and keep tame of his vehicle.
I think Jordan is a bit of a fisherman, to be honest, because he's reeling in Rob Sim quite quickly with these mediums.
It's the old versus the new as Rob Sim hits 11 laps on his new old mediums as George is closing that gap as he heads over round into... where's he off to now? He's closed that gap. He's 2.3 seconds behind Rob as they head down onto the first DRS zone of this track.
We've got Sam Arwan, who's just gone into the pits. He's now on mediums. Is Assad going to be in front? It looks like Sam Arwan's just managed to get in front of Assad. Oh, I think we've got another retiree, Ratchet. Has he clipped the wall or something?
If you just quickly switch to Darren Mark, it should let you know what's just gone on. 5-second penalty, collision with Assad.
Yeah.
Safety car has been deployed, full safety car.
A lot later than what I first expected. I did say it might pop out after the first round of pits, but I thought
that is a perfect opportunity for Rob Sim to pit under safety car to get them tyres changed, and he has done. Rob has pitted from the mediums, hopefully not going to go on the softs. He just received a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, probably will be served along with the 3-second penalty you got just before that for multiple warnings of coming off track. Let's see what his team decide to put him on. Looks to be the softs. It's a soft compounds. He's chose not to serve the time penalty, and he hasn't had a front wing change as he leaves the pit. Quick pit stop change for him, quick turnaround, and off he goes on some fresh mediums. Currently sitting in third, now dropped down to fourth as Doiji in the Mercedes overtakes him. Is that Mercedes I've just seen coming into the pit? That's Mask Baron just changed over to some fresh mediums. We've also got Harris pitting in under safety car. He's got some nice new hards. I don't understand why he's pitting, but we'll soon see why. We also have Assad who is pitting under mediums. He's got a fresh load of mediums on. Why is he pitting as well?
That could be a front wing change because he did have that collision.
Yeah. That's it. Harris has come out on them mediums. That should be him for the rest of the race. Assad has pitted. We've also got Harris who is leaving the pits. So that's George Zobson in the AlphaTauri, George in the Williams, and Doiji in the Mercedes looking for a podium finish tonight during this practice session. The gap between Harris and Darren Mark has dropped to 7.5 seconds, but it looks to be because Harris has got them slightly new mediums on compared to Darren. That gap should close considerably quickly. However,
Harris he's taking this opportunity to warm his tyres up while the safety car's out. So he's not in any rush to close that gap, I believe.
I wouldn't be either. If the safety car's out, there's no point ruining your tyre wear just to catch up to someone who you know you're going to catch up to at some point.
Yeah. I do find it quite funny that this was brought on by the two Hasses having a collision, a bit like real life Formula 1.
Yeah, I think it's. 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 That's as the pack starts to back up. We are now down to 6th, just coming up to the back of the pack. Sama Owen has, on them fresh mediums, has caught up to Rob Sim in 4th, Doiji in 3rd, Zobson in 2nd, George behind the safety car in 1st.
I think George's gone AI at the moment.
Best thing to do, it keeps the safety car, it keeps your distance behind the safety car. I feel that's not the best thing to do for the carcass and the internal temperature of your tyre though, because it will drop drastically while the AI is playing for you. Oh, he's back, he's back. As the rest of the pack starts to catch up, we now got Baron behind us, followed by Darren. Harris is slowly catching up the back of the pack. Assad has just pitted. Atat is quite a while away, probably going in for another wing change, which will be the second one of tonight. He's gone out on their mediums. Did he have a wing change, or was it?
Assad, yes, he did.
He's currently a minute behind, but the safety car is still out. I think once Assad catches up to the pack, the safety car should start to pit, hopefully.
I think he's actually gone into the pit again.
Yeah, he's just come out after having a front wing change.
Well, he was in the pit a moment ago, and he went on to softs, I think, if I'm right.
He's obviously had one too many drinks tonight, and ended up needing another front wing.
Safety car is in on this lap, so we're expected to be going racing at any moment.
And it's, as we turn into Maggots and Beckett's. George's carcass temperature is cold, not the best. As we return onto lap 15, we turn to racing speed as we head down into turn 1 at Silverstone tonight. George, nice racing pace, got a nice gap between him and Zobson. Doiji closely followed Zobson in 3rd. Rob Sim is sniffing the exhaust fumes of Doiji as we head into turn 5.
We've got Samir R1 who's snaking behind Rob Sim, looking for a little gap to post himself through.
Darren Mark's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings exceeding track limits. As we see Mask Baron trying to get around Sama Owen in 5th. That fight for 5th is looking mean at the moment.
Well, they're all quite close, right up from Zobson all the way down to Mask Baron, so really one little slip of any of them and up a few places.
Oh, Mask Baron has just overtaken Rob Sim and Sama Owen. That has got to be the cleanest overtake I have seen all night. 2 races, one nice little bend. Safety car again. What for this time?
I can't see nothing. I can't see anybody who's off track.
No. Is it Assad? Assad's 21 seconds behind. Actually, no, because he didn't catch up with the pack.
No, he's doing a quite clean run at the moment. So,
who's that just pitted? Is that George? George has pitted along with Rob Sim. Harris, they're all pitting now. George has pitted. Zobson's pitted. Harris has pitted. Darren Mark has pitted. Rob Sim has not pitted. Thought he did. Oh well. So George has pitted. They're going to put him on the. They put him on the mediums. They've put the Alpha Tauri Zobson on the softs.
So now Doiji leads the race for the first time.
Double stack for Williams at the moment. They've got Harrison, who is being... Oh, maybe not, yeah. They've got Harris, who has just come out on the mediums, followed by Darren Mark, who is also being put on the mediums. Very slow pit stop by Williams on that double stack. It's going to prove to be a problem for them. They should not be double stacking this season. It does, however, allow... Oh, Ratic is out.
Yeah, he went out a moment ago. Yeah, it looked like the safety car was out because Zobson might have clipped the back of Jord. He needed a front wing change and he's gone to softs. Same as Harris as well.
Something has gone on between Summer Allen and Rob Sim. Rob Sim's gained the position up to the podium position. Doigy's looking nice up in third. Assad's got a 3-second time penalty from race control from multiple warnings. As the pack now starts to back up behind the safety car as they fight to keep their tyres nice and warm while they wait for Zobson and Harris, Darren and Mark all to catch up to the pack underneath the safety car. Who's pitted again? George and Mask Baron have pitted underneath the safety car. What's going on here then? That's the Racing Point in the Mercedes. The Racing Point switching to them nice, another set of softs. As George, as Mask Baron's just looks like to be serving a time penalty. A drive-through. That's the pack all nicely backed up. Hopefully the safety car should be coming in end of this lap. Mask Baron's just left the pit lane, closely followed by George.
Just looking at all these penalties, George, if he closes down another 7 seconds to Doigy, he will be taking the lead. That's a massive difference.
It is weird how I think this strict cornering is going to prove to be difficult for some racers this season, as George now catches the back of the pack as they head into the second half of the track. Shouldn't be too much of an issue for most of these racers, as most of this track, as most of the racers being from Britain themselves, should know this track like the back of the hand. But again, it is proving difficult for most of the racers apart from George, as they do suffer time penalties for coming out of track limits. As George gets a bit happy on the throttle and overtakes about five people. What is he doing? As we slowly go up and we see people fighting to keep their tyres warm underneath the safety car. As we see the top four try and do almost sort of a rolling grid start from behind the safety car. As Doigy backs the pack up so that the safety car in. As the safety car goes in, it is time to return to racing speed as they get round to Maggots and Beckett. So see how it goes from here. Lewis leading him in first, followed by Robson Racer with a 1.4 second behind, as we see people dropping, as we see Summer Allen looks to have spun behind everyone at sector 3, as we see the gap increasing. Harris and Zobson ignoring it. Zobson got a 5-second time penalty for ignoring a yellow flag, as Harris is sniffing the exhaust fumes from behind him in that Williams.
We see Darren Mark there giving Mask Baron a little bit of a shove in turn 4, give himself a bit of space.
And that is Mask Baron lost his front wing, giving Darren Mark sort of a hefty love tap there in the Mercedes. Probably not going to be appreciated in the driver's lounge after this race, but
George climbed up to 6th from being at the back of the line. He's slowly closing that gap up to the leaders.
Rob Sim just cut that chicane, try and gain the time, but it hasn't quite worked in his favour. He's got a 3-second time penalty as we endure another safety car. Third safety car in about 7 laps is not the best thing, not something you want to see. And if it's going to end up like this all season, it is going to be the slowest season I have ever witnessed. That Zobson just spun by looks. Musk Baron speeding in the pit lane, got a 5-second penalty. Let's see what they stick Doiji on. Looks like they're about to stick him on some fresh softs. He's serving a penalty. Closely followed. It's going to be a double stack by Mercedes as Doiji leaves on the softs.
There's a new front wing for Musk Baron from that little tap with Darren Mark.
That was probably cast as a little tap if you're playing Six Nations rugby, but in the form of F1, that probably cost that team loads. And that's Robson Race has just been disqualified from the session. Not something you want to see, and he's ended up dropped down to 15th, probably getting too many time penalties for cutting corners. Not something you want to be doing this season at all. As the safety car comes out, Zobson now leads, followed by Harris, Assad, George. In 5th, we've got Darren Mark, Sama Awan in 6th, Doiji and Musk Baron, both Mercedes, following the back of the pack in 7th and 8th.
Ignoring a yellow flag he got disqualified for.
That probably was his third of the race, I believe, from what I've been seeing from race control on my screen. Zobson and Harris don't look like they're doing much to keep them tyres warm from behind the safety car. But to be fair, being on them softs, only being 2 laps old, they don't really need to work hard to keep them softs warm. That's Musk Baron with another 3-second time penalty. These penalties are adding up for each race as you go along. It is proving to be a tricky circuit to keep inside the curb lines for some racers, clearly. As we've got Zobson serving 11 seconds. We've got some mad penalties coming on. We've got Sama Awan serving a 21-second time penalty for multiple warnings going around track. Not what you want to see at all. We've got Harris and Darren Mark have gained 11 positions. Something we want to see this season. Loads of position changes, loads of action, loads of not loads of safety cars because it makes the season long, but loads of action. Look at the amount of people we have racing. Look at what's going on. Loads and loads of action. That's what we want this season. We've got Doiji, who's now in 6th. George is in 8th. Who's currently sitting in the pit lane. Let's see what he's gone in for. Looks like he's changed to softs. But he's dropped 7 positions since the start of the race with only 6 laps remaining. How far up the leaderboard can he now get from 8th? He's going to need a Lewis Hamilton Turkish miracle. Severe collision. Baron got a severe collision with Doiji. What happened there? Is it a wing change? The two teammates colliding. During practice. That is not something you want to see. Musk Baron losing his temper on Doiji. That's another 5-second penalty for a severe collision. As he now rams into the buttocks of Doiji. That is definitely something the two teammates should not be arguing over right now underneath the safety car. Doiji also suffered that 5-second time penalty.
Getting a little bit chaotic. It's like they're all driven by fast drivers at the moment, just taking out each other like a war zone.
Safety car is coming in this lap to return to racing speed. As it turns out that Doiji and Musk Baron are arguing. That's Musk Baron has just lost his front wing there. As he overtakes Doiji, smashes into the back of Sama Awan. Not the best for him at all.
Sama Awan's got a penalty as well as Musk Baron for a severe collision.
as Max Baron smashes into the back of Deutsche again. Definitely not the race for them today. As Baron now pits for a new front wing, hopefully to gather his thoughts to get told off by his... Deutsche's just retired from the session. What happened there? Probably left, disconnected, or even worse, he spun out. Max Baron has also retired from the session, with only 6 races left and 5 laps remaining.
Just watching a little battle between Jordan and Darren Mark. Jordan's taking the inside line and just cleanly past Darren Mark.
Sector 2, Sector 3, yellow flag.
Outside the span out. Couldn't see if there was any. I don't think there was any contact. I think he just span out.
The gap between Zobson and Harris as they head up into Maggots and Beckett's is slowly increasing. It has increased from 0.4 hundredths of a second all the way up to 1.4 seconds as they head round. Zobson with the fastest lap for AlphaTauri on the soft with a 127.5 as they now head down into turn 1, 2 and 3. Not the best. You want to see that gap between Harris and Zobson closing. You want to see Harris using the scissor overtake technique to get round Zobson, preferably on a DRS zone. You want to see that gap closing so he can actually get the DRS zone as Zobson slowly creeping away from his reach.
Well, Zobson needs to make 8 seconds up of a gap over Harris to keep his front position with the time penalties added. We've got Jordy's all over the back of Samuel Arwan, going on the outside. And makes another nice clean pass from Jord. Oh, and Jord's actually picked up his first penalty. And I believe that would be cutting corners.
I feel like this race now is just literally going to be a case of who's got the least amount of time penalties is going to finish first.
Yeah, I honestly was rooting for George having a very clean race then, but he just cut the corners at Maggots, and they basically just got his first penalty. So, but it looks like he's closing down Harris very nicely, so I'm expecting him to jump that position within the next 3 laps.
I can hear the engine of George in that racing point as he passes Harris on the inside as they go into
Stowe corner. They're going into Stowe corner there. That's a lovely pass by George.
As they head into Maggots and Beckett's now, Harris closely followed with half a second behind George as George slowly creeps out to start lap 24, I believe. Second, it's gonna be a close race between George and Harris, I tell you that.
Well, I can see Jordan's still taking chunks of time out of the interval between himself and Zobson in front.
All Harris has to do is keep that time going behind George. As George catches up to Zobson, then it will be a 1-2-3 fight for first on fight for the podium there.
Oh, George just opened up a nice gap between himself and Harris. Doesn't seem to be taking much more time out of the gap between himself and Zobson, so Zobson looks like to be finishing first, but with the penalties could be dropping down to third.
Let's look at them penalties that he suffered. 14 seconds. That could look like he's actually not dropping. Could look like he is dropping down to fourth. Looks like followed by George, who won't actually probably not drop down at all. We've got Shao Awen dropping down to sixth, I do believe. Then Darren, then probably between Harris. Oh, then probably looks to be Harris. Then, oh, it's my mistake. Probably looks to be the order. Looks to be Shama Awen, Darren Mark, closely followed by Zobson. Then Assad, Harris, then George in that first.
Well, George managed to take it up a whole second in that lap end to catch up with him. He is taking a lot of time out of that distance. I think Zobson just had a little bit of a wide turn there, club corner.
He's drastically taken off 2 seconds on that last lap as they fight for first. George is disconnected from the session, putting his AI. Rob Sims just left the session. Not the best for George as his AI races. Slowly that gap between Zobson and George as George leaves the session increases. George is probably smacking his head against the wall right now as we migrate host. Doiji has left the session.
The last 3 corners for Zobson. And Assad's got another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Between the strict corner penalties and the collisions, we've seen a lot of penalties today.
It has been a massive disappointment in the way that people have suffered big time penalties for mistakes that could be worked on during practice before Sunday at 4. As we wait for Darren Mark in 6th as he comes round the last corner. We'll just let the table adjust to see how we do. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. Darren Mark actually finished in 6th himself. But when we come on to that last driver of the day is Harris underneath that Williams. Great driving from him today, must admit. The time penalties was a bit ridiculous, but as the Williams... Sorry, mistake. As that racing point that Williams and... Oh, hello. And that AlphaTauri take first, second and third. Great race for them all today, I must admit. Not been the best for time penalties and collisions and safety cars, but hopefully Sunday we should see better.
It was a nice little eye-opener to see what's be coming ahead of us come Sunday. And let's hope that we'll find a much cleaner race.
I hope so. So the standings for tonight's practice session at Britain in Silverstone was George in first, Zobson, Harris and Shama Awan. Then Assad, Darren Mark in 6th, Mask Baron in 7th, Doiji in 8th, Robson Racer in 9th, Ratchet in 10th, Beastie Boys in 11th, This is Gigi in 12th, Magnus Nikolai in 13th and Quaduti in 14th. And bringing up the rear was Bagos in 15th, who got, I believe, didn't even start the race. So see, Quaduti, Magnus Nikolai and Bagos didn't even get to set a lap time, which is quite worrying coming Sunday, as they could pose a threat to some racers if they do pose to be doing well during quali and get within that range to stop and pretty much take out most people on turn 1, as we saw tonight. So that is it for qualifying tonight. I hope you all enjoyed. Tune in at 4 PM Sunday as me and hopefully my trusty companion to commentate with will be joining me again for another commentating session as we set down for another 26 lap race around Silverstone, where hopefully there'll be less penalties, less safety cars, but even more action.
Very much looking forward to it and hoping the same really. We'd like to see a nice clean battle first and second, really good. Got quite interesting near the end when we were catching up 2 weeks away.
Yeah, hopefully it shouldn't be too much of an issue, but we'll soon see on Friday when it all arrives. Thank you for watching and see you Sunday.